Yes guys, welcome back to another video on the channel today. As always, we're back talking about Wrexham Football Club, and today it's been a bit of a while, but we're bringing back the Wrexham AFC transfer news. There is a lot to talk about in this video. Potential outgoings at the club, multiple strikers have been linked with the club, we've seen one player sign, and it is just going to be a very bumper packed video. But before we get going, if you are looking for all the best Wrexham AFC content, I say it every video, this is the place to be. Make sure to get down there, click the red subscribe button. We are so close to hitting 25,000 subscribers, so I think we're like 200 away. So anyone new watching this that hasn't subscribed already, make sure to get down there, turn the notification bell on as well so you're notified every time I do upload a new video. There's going to be a lot of content coming over this season, so make sure to get down there and subscribe. Also as well, let's try and go for 750 likes on today's video, and let's get talking transfer news. So the first bit of transfer news we're going to be talking about, Phil Parkinson has confirmed a loan move for Welsh midfielder Jordan Davies is very likely to happen before the start of the season, with Grimsby Town in League 2 currently leading the race to sign our centre attacking midfielder. I think this is a departure we all kind of expected this season. Davies last season, he only started 2 games and only featured for 426 minutes last season, so you know it was going to be hard anyway, but with the new additions of midfielders, his game time was going to be very minimal this season, and you know a loan move to League 2 I think could do him wonders. Grimsby manager and former Wrexham defender Dave Artell did confirm in an interview that they're still unsure as to whether it will be a loan or a permanent move for Jordan Davies, which I think is very interesting. He also said they're really working hard to get a move done before the start of the season. If Davies goes to Grimsby permanently, I think Grimsby have got a good player on their hands. If they can get Jordan Davies back on form, if they can get him back to the form that we saw in his first season when we had fans back in the 21-22 season, they'll have a very good player on the cards. I would like to see a loan because, there's part of me, Davies is a homegrown lad. You always want to see him do well for Wrexham. You want to see him, play a big role as we go up and up the leagues. But as harsh as it might sound, I don't think Davies has deserved to become a starter in our team. But I have every faith if he goes to Grimsby and has a really good season, he can come back to Wrexham and still be a key part of our squad. And like I said, the potential is there for Davies, to be a really good midfielder. And we've seen that form, like I said, but unfortunately, he's had a couple of injuries here and there the past couple of seasons. And of course, losing his child was awful. So we can definitely understand why Davies maybe hasn't been at his best the past couple of seasons. So I think a fresh start, get minutes under his belt. He'll be a regular starter, I've no doubt in my mind, for Grimsby Town in League 2 this season. Rebuild his confidence, rebuild his form, and hopefully Jordan Davies could hit double digits for goals and assists next season. And overall, I think this is a very good deal for both parties. Wrexham, we're letting Jordan Davies go. He's going to get a lot of game time under his belt. If it's a loan deal, he can get that game time, come back to Wrexham and hopefully be a big part in our team. But for Grimsby, they've got a really good midfielder on the cards. I'm sure they'll want to improve on how they did last season. They barely survived, so adding that spark to their attack with Jordan Davies could definitely be a good signing for them. Also looking ahead to our squad and possibly outgoings that will happen, before the start of the League One season, Parky has also confirmed that they're looking to get loan moves out for current players in the matchday squad, and it's very likely, in my opinion, that those players are going to be, the Billy Waters, Jake Bickerstaff, and possibly one of the youth players in this squad. And what I would say about this transfer window, it's far from over. Just because it's coming towards the start of the season does not mean Wrexham are, settled with all our signings. We're still looking for more. I think it's going to be a very busy couple of weeks coming. I think we'll see a couple of players join and a couple of players leave as well. So keep an eye on those players, Billy Waters, your Jake Bickerstaffs, who will possibly find loan moves in this transfer window. And moving on to some exciting transfer news now, we're going to be talking about incomings to Wrexham. And there's no hiding the fact that Phil Parkinson wants to inject a bit of youth into the striker department at Wrexham. We've seen 3 young strikers being linked with the club in the past week or so. 3 players that are definitely worth a talk about and looking at. We're going to be starting off with the first youth striker. Reports are coming out just last night, so it's fresh news to us Wrexham fans that we are one of a few clubs interested in signing young 21-year-old striker Kieron Bowie from Premier League side Fulham. A bit of a profile on Kieron Bowie as a striker. Of course, he's a young striker who's gained a vast amount of experience in the EFL the past couple of seasons, playing for Northampton Town, where he has played 95 games across 2 seasons. He had a stint, where he made his trade at Wraith Rovers up in Scotland, but he's really come on and really developed as a player in League 2 and League 1 for Northampton Town. Not to forget, he did gain that promotion 2 seasons ago with Northampton Town. In his spell at Northampton, he's had 2 loan spells across the 2 seasons. He scored 14 goals in 95 games. And obviously the main thing at his age, Kieron Bowie, he's 21 years old. You're not going to expect 20, 30 goals. It'd be a freak occurrence if that was to be the case. At his age, it's to gain that experience in the leagues, get into the men's game, and he seems to have adapted really well. Like I said, 14 goals, and just the main thing is getting that game time under his belt. 95 games across 2 seasons is, really promising for a young player, and it seems to be the case that he's really adapted to the men's game and really impressed for the Cobblers. And of course, last season he had an average rating of 7.0 across all games in League One. So, there's some promising signs there. There's some promising signs that Kieron Bowie could become a really good striker. And I think, Northampton Town, they're a good team. They're not amazing. You're not going to see them pushing for playoffs anytime soon. So to see, his 14 goals, I think he really developed last season in League One as a player. Getting him into Wrexham, with the service that he'd be playing alongside Paul Mullen every week, we'd learn a lot off the experienced players in the striker department. And I think he could really flourish as a player and be a big goal scorer for us. As you heard at the start of this transfer news, we've heard that Kieron Bowie is also subject of interest from 3 other League One sides. Those are Barnsley, Peterborough United and Wigan Athletic. Not to forget, QPR of the Championship are also interested, and Scottish Premiership side Hibernian are also interested. So there's a whole host of clubs wanting to sign Kieron Bowie. He's hot demand at the minute, so it's not going to be a plain sailing transfer if we are to go in for Kieron Bowie. And of course, it's looking very likely that he will yet again depart Fulham this season, whether it be on a loan or on a permanent. I think, another loan spell isn't ideal for Kieron Bowie. I think at this age, you'd want to, settle down and get that challenge laid out ahead of you. You want your future to be secured at a club and not having these loans here and there, because, you understand in maybe the first season and then the second season, he's gained that experience. Now is the time for Kieron Bowie to knuckle down and really flourish as a player. And there is a big chance that Kieron Bowie is going to leave Fulham on a permanent transfer this year. I think another thing to note, Phil Parkinson said that they've been quoted some really extortionate prices for players who they have been linked with. So I think this is definitely possibly one of those players that, Fulham might have quoted a 7-figure fee for Kieron Bowie. So I think this is definitely one to keep your eye on, and one to keep your eye on to see if he does join Wrexham, whether it be on a loan or on a permanent. But I definitely think the signs are there for Kieron Bowie to be a good striker, and this would be a signing I would be very happy about. Moving on to the second striker, Bailey Cadamarteri. Yes, it's a mouthful. Bailey Cadamarteri is probably the striker we've been linked with the strongest across this transfer window. There's various reliable sources out there linking us with Cadamarteri, saying we are the front runners to sign him. A bit about Bailey Cadamarteri as a striker. He's only played 26 times in the men's game for Sheffield Wednesday of the Championship. All of those games bar one being in the Championship last year for the Owls, where he did score 5 goals in 26 games. You're probably watching this thinking their goal scoring records aren't the best, but you've got to remember Bowie is 21, Cadamarteri is just 19 years old. He's only a few months older than me. So, they've showed some really promising signs, and to get 26 games under your belt in the Championship, become somewhat of an integral part of Sheffield Wednesday's squad that season at just 19 years old, and the fact that Wrexham are looking to bring him in shows that he definitely does have something about him. Further looking at Cadamarteri's stats and looking at, the games he played last season, he had some really impressive couple of games throughout the season for the Owls last year. He had good performances against the likes of Swansea City, Blackburn Rovers and QPR, and he had a good game in their 4-1 defeat to Coventry in the FA Cup, where he did score. I think the main thing to note about this that is different to the possible Kieron Bowie signing, Cadamarteri, like I've said, is really highly rated by Sheffield Wednesday fans. They believe he is going to be a big striker for them in the upcoming few years. A player that's got mass potential behind him, so this deal is going to be a straight loan. They've just offered him a new deal and he's accepted it until 2028, so I'm 99% sure we're not going to see Cadamarteri sign for Wrexham on a permanent anytime soon. It would be a straight loan, and I'm sure Sheffield Wednesday, even if they are to sell him, they won't want to cash in before he's reached his full potential, especially at just 19 years old. He's only getting his career started, and I'm sure Sheffield Wednesday will want him to continue to flourish for them. And if he does well at Wrexham, they could possibly look at cashing in, but they won't be cashing in anytime soon, and definitely not in this transfer window. Now, I looked at a scout report made on Bailey Cadamarteri earlier on this year, and I found some really interesting finds in and amongst that scout report. The main thing they pointed out about Cadamarteri is his ability to find pockets of space, and his movement really boosted Sheffield Wednesday's attacking capabilities, with his movement unsettling defenders, making it hard to mark him, opening up gaps in the final third and creating chances and goal scoring opportunities. So it's clear to see he's got that really high IQ for such a young striker. I think this could be something Wrexham have looked at 100%. They'll have the analysts, they'll have the scouts looking at Cadamarteri and all his different assets that he could bring to the Wrexham team. I'm sure in League One, and especially in the Wrexham team, you know, bringing that movement to the strikers, bringing the defenders out of space and out of position, opening up that gap to Paul Mullin, making those runs. I think they could complement each other really well, Paul Mullin and Cadamarteri. Don't get me wrong, Cadamarteri is, you know, slightly different player to your Ollie Palmer, your Sam Dolby, the target men that are going to hold up the ball. Cadamarteri is quite tall, but I don't think we'll be utilising him in that way. Another thing they did point out is his link-up play. His link-up play really did help the fluidity of Sheffield Wednesday's attacks last season, and they seem to be creating a lot more chances when Cadamarteri was on the pitch. He seemed to be a key asset when enhancing the fluidity of the attack for Sheffield Wednesday last year. So, like I said, there's some really promising signs, and to see that this scout report has pointed out some really, really good, you know, assets to see in such a young player shows what we could possibly be getting. This signing would be one that would definitely excite me as a Wrexham fan. He would add something new to that final third, inject that bit of youth into there, and someone that I definitely think could add a fresh approach to our front line and our front two. And the third and final striker that we've been linked with, Will Lankshear. He is the latest player that has been linked with a move to Wrexham Football Club. We are one of a few other clubs to have Will Lankshear on our radar. A whole host of Championship clubs have entered the race to sign the young striker after a really, really promising pre-season for Tottenham Hotspur of the Premier League. He's got some really valuable minutes against some really good teams. He scored against Hearts. I think he scored against the K-League, you know, an all-round team. So he scored 2 goals in pre-season for Tottenham. But I think the interesting thing was this was Lankshear's first real, you know, go in men's football. That was his first minutes he's played in men's football for Tottenham, and he showed some really promising signs for them. You know, like I said, he gets to play a single minute in the professional men's league game. He's featured for Tottenham in the EFL Trophy. Last season, he scored 29 goals in 33 games across all competitions, as well as winning the Premier League 2 Golden Boot. And he also did get an England under-19 call-up where he did score 3 goals in 5 games. So, you know, I don't think you can really take a lot from youth football at this stage, especially when he's not played a professional men's league game. But I think there's definitely signs to be excited about and signs that Will Lankshear could be a very good striker. And in terms of what this deal could possibly be, I can't see Tottenham letting Will Lankshear go, you know, after such a promising pre-season. I'm sure they wouldn't want him to go permanently. This would be a straight loan. I think this is Parky's, you know, approach to this transfer window, wanting a striker in. It will not be a, you know, a permanent signing. I think he definitely wants to bring in maybe 1 or 2 strikers. I think one thing that is nailed on in this transfer window, that Parky will bring in a young striker on loan. I was also reading a bit about what a Spurs correspondent had to say on Will Lankshear. He said he's got a little bit of Harry Kane about him. Lovely touch, lovely finish and good finishing ability. He's also said to have intelligent off-the-ball movement and good hold-up play. It seems to be that Lankshear has got some key traits behind him, you know, hold-up play, a goal scorer, having a good finishing ability, all those things, you know, just complement each other. I definitely do think it's a promising sign that he's such a natural goal scorer. He can hold the ball up. I think all these things would just add quality to the Wrexham front line. Like I've previously said about Bowie, Cadamarteri and now Lankshear, I think they could all add something new to our front line and a fresh approach. If we're being realistic about the possible signing of Lankshear, it would obviously be one that would excite a lot of Wrexham fans, but after the impressive pre-season he's had for Tottenham, I can't see this one happening, unfortunately. I definitely do think there was a chance before pre-season, but now he's shown those promising signs, I'm sure Tottenham will want to loan him out to the best team possible, and he will not be short of Championship offers. So expect to see Lankshear possibly go out to a Championship side. I think Middlesbrough are currently leading the race, so I think Tottenham would favour him moving to Middlesbrough over a move to League One. So yeah, that is it for the latest Wrexham transfer news for today. I'm also repping the new Wrexham AFC third shirt, the gold shirt, the only one that I've bought. I'm looking at buying the black shirt, but this one, stunner, absolute stunner. It's got that retro feel to it, and even just looking down on it, it has just got that retro, you know, looking at it when I first opened it out the bag, everything screams retro about this shirt. 10 out of 10 shirt. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Who would you like to see sign for Wrexham? Would you like to see Kieron Bowie sign, Cadamarteri or Lankshear? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Or would you like to see someone different that we haven't mentioned in today's video? Like I said, make sure to subscribe, like the video, do all that good stuff. Make sure to check out my first video on my new EFL channel. You've shown me some really, really good support, so I cannot thank you enough for that. And there'll be content on there that you will massively enjoy. Until then, it's only a matter of days until the League One season, so I cannot wait for that. I am buzzing. You know, we've got Wycombe Wanderers at home on the Saturday, Sheffield United away in the Carabao Cup, and then we travel to the mighty Bolton Wanderers away. So we've got 3 games in 7 days. I cannot wait for that. Enough rambling now. Take care, guys. Up the town.